What's up, guys? How are you today? Shankar Puri here, your mortgage agent. Today, we're going to talk about multifamilies versus condominiums. I like multifamilies because there's multiple units. There's more than one, two, three, four, five. So that means you have way more people to collect rent from. And at the same time, if someone leaves, if one person leaves in a 5 unit multifamily, you still have cash flow to pay the bills, right? If someone leaves out of a condominium, then you're 100% vacant. There's no one there to pay the bills. You have to pay the bill. And while you may be able to pay it, you got to remember that we're in this game to build wealth, and you want to use other people's money to pay down your mortgage so you can grow that wealth for yourself and for the future. If you're just starting out, maybe it would be better to just start with a condo because it might be overwhelming to have 5 tenants staying in your unit and then something goes wrong. If you're dealing with it personally, then you may be overwhelmed. Well, with a condo, you may have 2 bedrooms, a 1 bedroom, so you're only dealing with one tenant. So, it might be easier and feel less, overwhelming. But keep in mind that you can always pay for management companies. A lot of realtors actually will manage your company. So sometimes if the realtor you're working with, if they sell you a multifamily, they may actually be managing multifamilies, or they can refer you to someone who can manage. So keep that in mind, is that you could always pay for that service because multifamilies are a bit more scalable than condos, so you can afford that maintenance cost, that management fee cost. Benefit for condos is that normally purchasing a condo is cheaper. So if you purchase a condo, it's a great way to get into the real estate game because purchasing a multifamily does cost a bit more. You get a condo, you're building wealth. Condos do appreciate very well in the GTA. If you need to sell, it is easier to sell a condominium than it is to sell a multifamily. There are more people in the market that are going to buy a condo than that are going to buy a multifamily. You may have the same buyer come in on Monday and want to close, but there's just a bit more paperwork in getting the multifamily financed and closed. When you purchase a multifamily, everything in that multifamily is yours. Everything outside of that multifamily is also your responsibility. With that being said, if you want to renovate, you can renovate. You don't really need to ask anyone unless you're making structural changes. If someone slips and falls outside because you didn't put ice, you didn't put salt on the ice, well then that's also your responsibility. With condos, even though you own the property, you may have to ask to paint, to do anything with the plumbing, to do anything with the lights, and as well as you may or may not be allowed to have pets. So you got to keep that in mind. Even though you own the condominium, it's still governed by a body that kind of controls exactly what can go inside, what you can change, because they want to make everything uniform from unit to unit. Also, with condos, I'll tell you from my experience, those condo fees can creep up on you, man. Every month you're paying down your mortgage, or you have tenants in there that are paying down your mortgage, and you look at your statement and say, man, how come I still have the same amount net this year that I did last year, even though I may have increased the rents and my mortgage has decreased? Well, chances are, if it's a condo, it's because the maintenance fees has increased. So keep in mind, when you purchase a condo, year over year, depending on which condo you purchase, those fees do creep up. Sometimes it's not that significant, depending on the age of the condo, but you got to keep in mind that it can eat into your cash flow if the fees do get out of hand. With a multifamily, even though that you don't have maintenance fees, you still got to maintain the property. So there are costs of that. But let's say lights are costing you X amount a month, or the furnace is costing you X amount a month. You can actually, upgrade the furnace or get better lights to lower your monthly costs to help with that cash flow. With condo maintenance fees, they always normally just increase over time. So when you are purchasing, don't just look at the mortgage amount and the rent when you're looking at condos. You have to make sure you take into account the maintenance fees. I can tell you how many times people think they can get approved for a mortgage and they don't even take into consideration the maintenance fees, when the maintenance fee is a great payment every month that you're responsible for. In conclusion, both of these property types are good. You just got to Look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, why am I purchasing this property? Am I going to be selling sooner than later? Do I need the cash flow? Do I want the cash flow? Do I want to live in it? Do I not want to live in it? So keep all of that in mind. And one great thing I like to tell people is if you are buying your first property, you can always buy a multifamily, live in one unit, rent out the rest, and live free month to month. You can't do that in a condo, but just leave it at that.